So before I give you some more detail, let's try to understand some basics about the probability. So definitely try to build some sets of a probability. First of all, probability is a nasibah, a measure of likeliness. So is a measure of likeliness. So something will happen. So sigma. So the event will occur. So definitely is something very common. So always remember the probability is always between 0 and 1. So probability so basically this number is always greater equals 0 and less equals 1. You will never see a number outside this range. The higher probability, the more certain that event will occur. So definitely you need to understand the definition of the probability. So always remember the probability is a nasibah. So nasibah or ratio. So bond number is total number of equally likely outcome. So make sure you understand this word. So equally likely outcomes that give us the bottom number. So top number is the number of outcomes meet my condition. So sigma top number is meet my condition. Try to remember this formula. So definitely we will use this one a lot from now on. So I do need everybody pay attention to those two words, equally likely. So these words could be so important. So later on I will give you one example. Help you understand what is so important. So I'm going to put the probability on a line. So sigma, this is 0, this is 0, this is 1. Of course, this is sigma, this is half. So if probability equals 0, so what that means guaranteeing this event will not happen. Basically, this sigma is impossible. So that is very easy to understand. The probability equals 0, that means what? That cannot happen. So how about probability equals 1? So that means what? That means it's for sure. So it will happen. And that means this is certain. How about probability equals half? That means what? This is an even chance. This is an even chance. A very typical example is a flipping coin. If you have a fair coin, of course you have half chance. So get a head, half chance get a tail. So how about a number between 0 and half? So basically it's greater than 0 but less than half. We call this what? This event is unlikely to happen. So we call this as so this part is unlikely. So how about between number? So half and 1. So basically greater than half but less than 1. We call this what? This is likely to happen. So remember some common words when we talk about the probability. I will quickly give you two very basic number. So help you understand how to calculate the probability for some simple problem. So first one, so I have a positive integer. So keep in mind this is a positive integer less than 10 and less than 10, not including 10, is selected at random. So basically, so we pick a positive integer less than 10 at random. So of course could be what? Could it be 1, 2, 3 all the way to 9? Any number is possible. The problem trying to figure what the probability. It is an even number. It is even. Let's see how to solve this problem. So in order to calculate the probability, always remember, so this is our formula. We use this formula to figure the probability of an event. So bond number is total number of equally likely outcome. So clearly, if you select number, select a positive integer less than 10. Could it be what? Could it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So clearly we have what? We have total number of outcome is a nasibah 9. And that give us a bottom number is a nasibah 9. We have 9 possible equally likely outcome. So how about minimum condition? So sigma, how many of them are minimum condition? So minimum condition in nasibah I talk about is an even number. So of course clearly even could be what? Could it be 2, 4, 6, and 8. So very clear. We have only 4 minimum conditions. Those 4 outcomes are minimum conditions. Of course, we have total 9. That means what? The probability is nothing but 4 over 9. Look at here. This number is clearly greater equals 0 and less equals 1. And also this number is less than half. That means what? That means it's unlikely to get an even number for this event. So how about you roll a die? What are the probability that number is less than 3? Let's see how to solve this one. So clearly, when you roll a die, of course, you might end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have total 6 equally likely outcome. That means what? Bottom number is nothing but 6. So how about top number? Top number is nothing but try to figure how many of those outcomes meet my condition. So basically what? So 1, 2, 6. So how many number less than 3? Of course, could it be 1? Could it be 2 only? So that means what? We have only 2 outcomes minimum condition. Of course, that give us 2 over 6. So simplify. That means probability is nothing but 1 over 3. That's how you understand. Some basics about the probability. So talk about typical probability problem. So first one definitely is I need everybody try to fully understand the dice problems. So basically is imagine if you roll a pair of dice. Based on this experiment, I'm going to put down a lot of important problem. So what are the probability? The sum of those number equals 4. Equals 4. So basically, imagine if you roll a pair of dice, you will get 2 numbers. The problem is try to figure what are the probability. The sum of those 2 numbers equals 4. First of all, let's try to understand the total number of outcomes. It's very clear. This is nothing but multi-step problem. First step, we have 6 ways. Second step, we have 6 ways. That give us total number of outcome is nothing but 6 at a time 6. That give us 36. So I'm going to quickly put down all those 36 outcome. So imagine first one is 1. Of course, next number could be 1. So first number is 1. Next number could be 2. Of course, 1 and 3. So 1 and 4. So 1 and 5. 1 and 6. So continue. So first number is 2. Of course, could be 2, 1. So 2, 2. So 2, 3. So 2, 4. 2, 5. And 2, 6. So continue. How about first one is 3? Of course, 3, 1. So 3, 2. 3, 3. 3, 4. 3, 5. And is 3 and 6. So continue. I'm going to put down the last column. So how about first number 8, 6? Of course, could be 6, 1. So 6, 2. So 6, 3. So 6, 4. 6, 5. And 6 and 6. So very clear. We will have 36 outcomes. That means what? The bottom number is nothing but 36. So next one is we try to figure how many of them. So of course we know we have 36. The problem is try to figure how many of them. So minimum condition. Based on the 2 number add together equals 4. So let's try to figure the method to find minimum condition. So minimum condition. So to find minimum condition, the first common way is what? You just check 1 by 1. Check the outcomes 1 by 1 and see so how many minimum condition. So definitely is so sometimes you have to do this one. Of course, sometimes definitely this is not the best way. So anyway, we have so the first method is what? Check 1 by 1. So imagine we have total. So we have total 36 outcome. Of course, you can either check 1 by 1 and see so how many of them are minimum condition. So let's see. So for this one, of course, 1 plus 1 is 2. That means what? This doesn't work. Of course, this is what? This is 1 plus 2. That gives us 3. Sum is not equals 4. How about this one? Of course, clearly give us what? 1 plus 3 equals 4. That means what? So we figure this one. So minimum condition. So continue. Of course, this is sum is 5, 6, and 7. So that work. How about this one? Of course, this give us 3. This give us 4. Look at here. 2 plus 2. That give us 4. So clearly here is 5 above. So that work. Let's check the third column. Of course, first one is 3 plus 1. That give us 4. That means what? This one minimum condition. So continue. If you check clearly, those numbers must be 5 or above. So check the next column. It's very clear. The smaller possible is 4 plus 1, which is 5. Definitely, we cannot get a sum of 4. So same thing for here and the same thing for here. That means what? After we check one by one, after we check the 36 outcomes one by one, we figure only 3 as a minimum condition. That means what? So top number is nothing but 3. Of course, that gives us what? Is nothing but as 1 over 12. That's how you solve this problem. So I'm going to put out possible outcomes in this way because we have 2 dice. Let's try to put the number from the first die. Of course, could it be what? Could it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? So how about second one? Of course, could it be what? Could it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? So now it's very clear. We can generate a 36 outcome from those 2 groups of number. Of course, if you really want to check, you can do this way. So 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, and then continue with 2. 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, and then continue with 3 all the way to the 6. You can clearly see if you follow this idea, so at least the work is much less compared with there's 36 pairs. So I just put that there. So this method is much better. So from now on, I'm going to only list the total number of outcomes by this way. Of course, still we can check one by one. So let's see, check 1 plus 1. Definitely this is not equals 4. How about 1 plus 2? This is 3. So no, of course, 1 plus 3, that is a minimum condition. Clearly, everything else is wrong. Let's put 1 as outcome minimum condition on top of this one. So continue with 2. It's very clear. 2 plus 1, that'll work. 2 plus 2, it works. 2 plus 3, and also above, that'll work. That means what? We have only one possibility. So let's put 1 here. So 3 plus 1, that works. Of course, 3 plus 2, or above, that'll work. That means we have only one outcome minimum condition if the first number equals 3. So if you check everything else, it doesn't work. So you can clearly sum all those possible outcomes, minimum condition together. That give us nothing but 3. So that is our first method to figure out the minimum condition. Again, check one by one. When you check one by one, of course, you have 2 ways. One is list all the possible outcomes. Another one is be smart. When you list a number of outcomes, of course, we choose this way. That is something so definitely you need to get used to. Let's try to figure what the probability. So first number is greater or equals the second one. So first number is greater equals the second one. Let's try to list all the possible outcomes so by the 2 rows and check one by one. Of course, first number could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 only. So second number coming from the second die. Of course, could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 only. So next one, of course, definitely we can generate a 36 outcome from those 2 rows. Let's check one by one. So first one is 1 and 1. So definitely this is our first number, greater equal this one. So let's continue to check. How about 1, 2? So definitely this is a first number and not greater equals the second one. Of course, same thing for the number so above 2. So that means only one minimum condition, which one? Which is a 1 and 1. So continue with the 2. So 2, 1 definitely works. So first number is greater equals the second one. 2, 2, it works. So not work. So for the 3 and above. That means clearly we have 2 ways. So minimum condition. So still, of course, 3. So 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3. So definitely works. So you can clearly see the pattern. Now, of course, if we start with 4, definitely we have 4 outcomes minimum condition. So same thing for the 5. We have 5 minimum condition. Of course, here is a 6 minimum condition. So of course, we know the total outcome is nothing but so 36. So minimum condition is very clear. It is nothing but so those numbers add together. Of course, a nothing but 1 plus 2, so plus 3 all the way to the 6. So clearly top number is nothing but 21. Of course, over 36. So of course, always simplify your final answer. So divided by 3, they give us nothing but 7 over so 12. That is answer for this one. For this problem, I check one by one to figure out meet my condition. That could be also very common way when you solve the probability problem. So what are the probability? Sum is equals an even number. So let's see how to solve this one. Again, total number of outcome is 36. The key is how to figure the meet my condition. For this one, of course, so we know, so if two numbers add together equals even, could it be what? Could it be odd number plus odd number? So even number plus even number. Of course, odd number plus even or even plus odd, that give us odd number. Of course, we can use this parity. So using parity, parity to solve this kind of problem. So let's see. So in order to get an even sum, of course, our first case work is nasiba, so an even number and a plus an even number. So next one, of course, could be odd number plus odd number. So what that means? That means I need the first number is even, and the second number is also even. Remember, is and the second number is even. So clearly, we need both happen, not just one. That means what? This is nasiba, so multi-step process. So how many ways? So if we get an even number, so from the first die, it's very clear. We have only 3 ways. So sigma 2, 4, and 6. A second number, so is even. It's very clear. We also have 3 ways. So because what? Because this is a multi-step process. Again, we need 2 numbers. If you get only 1 number, this is a step. That's why we have to choose a multiplication. Here, multiplication has nothing to do with this addition, this is multiplication, or this is difference. It really doesn't matter. Here, multiplication means what? Means this is a multi-step, problem. So this is so 9 ways, so minimum condition for the first case work. Of course, if you understand this one, so now next one is super easy to understand, because for our number, clearly we have 1, 3, 5, we have 3 ways. For the second one, it also has 3 ways. Clearly this is a multi-step. That means what? We have total, so 9 ways, so in the second case work. So now we are ready to solve this problem. Of course, so total is nasiba, so 36. So minimum condition is very clear, is 9 and a plus 9. That gives us 18. Of course, simplify, that is nasiba, so half. That is how to solve this problem. We solve this one so by using the parity. So could be so very common way to solve this kind of problem. So next one, let's try to figure what the probability the sum is odd number. Sum is odd number. So clearly, we still want to use a parity to solve this problem. So to figure minimum condition, of course, we need an odd sum. So could it be what? Could be first is an even number and a plus an odd number. Or of course could be first one is odd number and a plus an even number. So clearly we have 2 case work. So base one, so even and a plus odd. So next one is a nasiba, odd number and a plus even number. So first step is very clear. We have 3 ways. So second step also we have 3 ways, because this is a multi-step. That means this is nasiba, 3 times 3. Of course, that give us 9. So similarly, we end up with 3 times 3, of course, equals 9. That give us what? That give us, so minimum condition is nasiba, 9 plus 9 is 18. Of course, total outcome is clear is 36. Simplify is nasiba, so 1/2. Actually, we have to get 1/2. So why? Based on last problem, the probability to get a even sum is half. So imagine. So if you add 2 numbers, so from those 2 dice, of course, answer could be even or odd only, so no more. So that means what? Either end up with an odd sum or end up with an even sum. That means what? Those 2 probability add together must be equals 1. Based what? Contain all the possible, outcome. That give us what? That give us, so this number is nasiba 1 minus the answer from last one, which is the probability equals an even sum. That's why definitely this answer must be equals half. Otherwise, definitely something wrong. So try to fully understand this one. So what are the probability? The product is even. The product is even. So still, the best way is use a parity to help us figure out minimum condition. So in order to get an even product, of course, could it work? Could it be even number at a times even number? Of course, could it be even number at a times odd number? Of course, could it be what? Could it be so odd number and multiply with even number? So no more, because what? Next case where is odd number times odd number, that give us an odd number. So let's try to figure, in each case word, how many ways? It's very clear. This is, again, this is a Nasiba, multi-step problem. First step is we need an even number. Second step, we need an even number. So of course, number way is Nasiba 3 times 3. Of course, that gives us Nasiba 9. So of course, first number is even. Next number is odd. Of course, that gives us 3 times 3 is 9. How about first number is odd? Of course, we have 3 ways. So next number is even. Of course, we also have 3 ways. Multiply together is Nasiba 9. Of course, add together, that gives us minimum condition. Of course, clearly, that gives us Nasiba, 27. Minimum condition is 27. Total outcome is 36. Of course, simplify, the final answer is Nasiba 3 over 4. So what are the probability? The product is odd number. So can anybody predict the answer is? So answer must be equals what? 1 over 4. Otherwise, definitely something wrong. Let's see why. So if you get two numbers from those dice number, it's very clear. So multiply together, either odd or either even. So no more. So what that means? That means this probability and plus this probability must be equals 1. We figure answer must be 1 minus 3 over 4. Of course, final answer here is Nasiba as 1 over 4. So still, let's try to by using the parity, assuming you don't know this answer, let's try to figure this problem. It's very clear. So we have only one case word. Base one. This is Nasiba. So odd number and multiple with odd number. That give us what? That give us odd number. So clearly, so this is a multi-step problem. First step we have 3 ways. So second step we have 3 ways. That give a total number with Nasiba 3 times 3 equals 9. Of course, total so outcome is Nasiba 36. Minimum condition is 9. Of course, simplify is Nasiba so 1 over 4. Definitely we need to get a 1 over 4. Otherwise, definitely something is wrong. So make sure you fully understand this one. So problem 7. What are the probability? The product. Product is a perfect cube. Let's see how to solve this kind of problem. So definitely something very, very important. So you need to understand this idea. So first one, of course, definitely we can use a check one by one idea. So nothing wrong. First number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So next number could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Of course, clearly we will end up with 36 outcome. You check one by one and see if each pair give us a perfect cube. If you get a perfect cube, that means you find one. So minimum condition, of course, altogether, they give us total minimum condition divided by 36, which is our total outcome. They give us answer. So I'm going to show you another way to solve this one. They give us another super common way to figure out minimum condition, which is what? Try to construct the solutions. Instead of you check one by one, so try to construct the possible outcome. That sometimes could be very, very good idea. So I'm going to show you how to use this idea to figure out minimum condition. So first perfect cube is 1, of course. The next one is 2 times 2 times 2. Of course, that gives us 8. So next one is 3 times 3 and times 3. That gives us 27. Of course, next one is what? 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. So clearly, this doesn't work because what? A larger possible product from those two dice is what? 6 at times 6. And clearly, there's no way you get 64. Again, larger possible is 36. That gives us what? Only 3 possible perfect cube. So next one, let's try to construct a solution. Which one? Try to figure two number from those dice number multiply together equal those perfect cube number here. So first one, 1. Clearly must be 1 times 1. We have only one way, which is 1 times 1. So nothing else. It's very clear. This is true. So next one, how to get 8? Of course, could it be 1 times 8? So no way we have 1 times 8 because what? Because this is a die. So die number must be from 1 to 6. That means 1 times 8 that'll work. So next one, of course, could it be what? Could it be 2 times 4? This is possible. Basically what? Basically means first number is 2, second number is 4. So next one, of course, could it be 4 at 2? This is also okay because what? First number could be 4, second number could be 2. Of course, multiply together definitely meet my condition. So next one is A1. So definitely A1 doesn't work because what? 8 is not a die number. So that means what? We figure 2, so minimum condition, 8, the product is 8. So how about 27? Of course, quickly put the two number multiply together equal 27. Now you'll realize this is a very similar one, similar to finding as a factor for the 27. Of course, 1 times 27, so clearly this doesn't work because what? 27 is not a die number. So next one is what? So 2 doesn't work. So of course, next one is 3 times 9. So 3 times 9 definitely doesn't work because what? Those numbers must be from 1 to 6. So next one, of course, 4 doesn't work. Of course, 5 doesn't work. 6 doesn't work. 7 doesn't work. 8 doesn't work. Of course, next one is 9 times 3. Clearly, we figure all the possible. There's nothing. So minimum condition. That means what? We have only 3. So minimum condition. That give us so minimum condition is nothing but 3. Of course, total outcome is 36. Of course, simplify final answer is nothing but 1 over 12. So make sure you get used to this idea. This idea is nothing but try to construct solution instead of check one by one. So sometimes this could be so much better than this one. But sometimes we have to choose this first method. So really depends on the problem. So after you solve enough problem, definitely you get an idea. So which method you want to choose. So next one, what are the probability the product of those two numbers is greater than 2? Is greater than 2. You can check one by one. Of course, no way we can use a parity for this one. So construct solution, of course, you could try to construct solution, but so you can clearly feel so there are a lot of answers minimum condition because what? So two number multiplied together, so greater than 2. So 2 is a very small number. That means what? Definitely we will have a lot of outcomes out of 36 minimum condition. If you feel a lot of answers, so that means what? That means definitely you need to think about complementary counting because what? A lot of right answers that imply there are only a few wrong answers. Here comes a next one, a super important idea. Help you so figure out minimum condition. Based on by complementary counting. So by complementary counting. So this could be so very useful idea to help you so speed up. So again, so I'm not going to figure so how many outcomes are minimum condition here. Instead, I figure the total and subtract how many outcomes fail this so condition. So based on how many outcomes do not so minimum condition. So total minus a wrong answer, that give us a right answer. So let's try to figure. So number of wrong outcome based on is a product is what is less equals to so not less than 2. So don't miss this step. It's very easy to miss. So greater than 2. So that means what? Wrong answer is what? A nothing but less equals to. So if you get here, of course, next one, so we can easily construct solution because I feel there are only a few. So how about first number is 1, next number could be 1, of course, multiply together, definitely less equals 2. How about first one is 1, of course, next one 2, so definitely multiply together, so less equals 2. And nothing else if the first number is 1. So how about first number 2, of course, if second number is 1, definitely multiply together, a less equal 2. So of course, 2 or above, that will work. How about first number is 3? So definitely that'll work. So that means what? We have only 3 wrong answer. Notice we will try to figure a wrong answer. We use this idea, basically construct the solution. So actually sometimes could be so very efficient, so much efficient than check one by one. So anyway, now we are ready to figure out the final answer. So clearly total is nothing but 36. Minimum condition is 36, and then subtract those 3 wrong answer. Of course, that gives nothing but 33 over so 36. Of course, simplify divided by 3, and number is 11 over 12. That is answer for this one. So make sure you fully understand this one. So after this example, so I do hope everybody so get a sense how to solve the probability problem using counting. Of course, bottom line is nothing but total number of outcomes. So in order to figure the minimum condition, so I put down so 4 possible idea help you so figure minimum condition. Of course, you can check the number number of outcomes one by one. Of course, sometimes we can solve this one so using parity. Of course, sometimes we can construct solution instead of check one by one. Of course, sometimes complementary calculus could be very, very useful. So next one, I will quickly give you another example. So basically, there are two wheels. So first one, so we have 3, 4, 5, and 7. So next one is so we have so three numbers. So 6, 9, and 7. So 6, 9, and 7. Let's see. The problem try to figure. So you get a number from the first wheel. You get a number from second one. So at random. So what are the probability? So what are the probability? The product is even. What are the probability? Probability product is even. So that is our problem. So let's see how to solve this one. So clearly, so we need to figure so total outcomes. So first number, of course, could be what? So 4 weeks. So second step, we have 3 weeks. So likely, they all equally likely. Look at here. All those numbers in the first wheel are so equally likely. So same thing for all numbers in the second one. That means what? Those outcomes must be so equally likely. We have total 4 times 3. So total is 4 times 3. They all equally likely. That gives us what? Total outcome is nothing but 4 times 3, which is 12. So next one, of course, still we try to figure so minimum condition. So minimum condition product is even. So look at here. So clearly you want to think about so use the parity property. If two numbers multiplied together is even, clearly could it be what? Could it be even times odd times even. So did you feel something? So clearly we have what? We have 3 case work here. Total we have 4 possible case work. Definitely you want to think about so the other direction, because what? The wrong answer is what? Product is odd. Actually we have only 1 case work for that. So total is nothing but 12. Of course, and A minus a wrong answer. Actually, wrong answer is nothing but the product is odd. So we narrow down. So we want to solve this one also by complementary calculus. In order to get the product equals odd, that means what? Definitely is we want to use a parity property to figure this one. So product is odd. That means what? First number must be odd. Second number must be odd. It's very clear. First number is odd. How many ways could it be? So 3, 5, and 7. So that gives us 3 ways in the first step. So how about second one? Of course, our number could be what? Could be 7 and 9. That gives us 2 ways. So minimum condition. So notice this is a multiplication. Actually, this multiplication coming from multi-step, not coming from this multiplication. So has nothing to do with this one. This means a multi-step. That's why we choose a multiplication. That gives us what? Wrong answer, we have only so 6. That gives us a right answer is nothing but 6. Of course, that gives us minimum condition is 6. Total is 12. Of course, final answer is nothing but so half. That's how we solve this problem. So make sure you fully understand so how we figure this answer. We have so 1 wheel. So next one, we have another wheel. So we have 3 numbers, which are 2, 5, and 6. 2, 5, and 6. Let's try to figure so what are the probability. So we select a number at random. So select number as random. What are the probability? The sum is greater. Sum is greater than 7. Let's see how to solve this problem. So first one, definitely is we need to figure so total outcomes. You might feel the total outcome is very clear. Is we have 3 ways in the first step, 3 ways in the second step. That give a total outcome is 9. Actually, this is totally wrong. You need to understand what is wrong. Because what? Because look at here. We have more chance to get 3 than get 1 or get 2. That means what? They are not equally likely. So keep in mind, the formula to calculate the probability, the bottom number must be what? As a total number of equally likely outcome. It must be equally likely. So because they are not equally likely, that means what? First step, we need to make it equally likely. So let's quickly divide this one into 4 congruent parts. That means this is 3. We will have another 3 here. So now look at here. The answer should be what? Should be 1, 2, 3, and 3. So we have 2, 3 there. Now definitely what? This is equally likely. So in the first step, we have 4 ways. Second step, we have 3 ways. That means minimum condition. That's about 4 times 3. That give us what? That give us 12. So make sure you fully understand. This is 4 times 3. It's not 3 times 3. Of course, bottom number is nothing but 12. Let's try to figure minimum condition. We have no clear pattern. The best way for this one is check one by one. To use that idea, so I'm going to put the first number as 1, 2, as 3, as 3. Of course, next number could be what? Could be 2, 5, and 6. So now to check one by one. So look at here. Sum together is greater than 7. Of course, look at here. 1 plus 2, so definitely doesn't work. 1 plus 5, that gives us 6. No. 1 plus 6, so definitely doesn't work because 3 greater than 7. That means what? We find nothing. So minimum condition if the first number equals 1. So how about 2? Of course, 2 plus 2 doesn't work. 2 plus 5 doesn't work. 2 plus 6, it works. That means what? We find 1 minimum condition if the first number is 2. So how about 3? Of course, 3 plus 2 doesn't work. 3 plus 5 works. 3 plus 6 works. That means we have 2 ways. If the first number is 3. It's very clear. We have same number, which are 2 for this 3. That means what? We have total 5 minimum condition. Of course, final answer is nothing but 5 over 12. So make sure you fully understand this example. The problem gives us ratio of boys to girls is 5 to 4. So basically, boy to girl is 5 to 4. And also we know total number of students is 54. The problem try to figure how many. How many boys? So definitely you need to know the trick how to solve this one. So in the future, whenever you see this information. So always remember, we need to introduce only one variable. So never try to introduce 2. So let's introduce 1x here. So you need to know how to set this number. Of course, this one multiple x, that give us number of boys. This number multiple with x, that give us number of girls. That's how to use this information. So make sure you know how to use this information. Of course, after you get here, so definitely you can move on. So because what? Number of boys and plus number of girls, that give us nothing but 5x and plus 4x, of course, equals what? Equals 54. That's 9x equals 54. That give us x is nothing but 6. The problem try to figure boy. So never assume x is our final answer. Of course, boy is nothing but 5 times x. That give us answer is nothing but 30. That is answer. The problem C. So this person can pay 2 depots in 3 seconds. Space one. So 2 depots. So in 3 seconds. In 3 seconds. The problem try to figure how many seconds to pay 50. So 50 depots. 50 depots in how many seconds? It's very clear. This is a proportion. So sigma 2 depots 3 seconds, 50 depots, how many seconds? Very clear. We can build a proportion. So it's nothing but 2 to 3 equals what? Equals 50 to what? So if you get here, so remember a few things. First one, you need to make sure this one and this one have a same unit. This one and this one has a same unit. So those two could have totally different unit. For example, here is 2 depots. Here is 3 seconds. So clearly have totally different units. But here, this are 2 depots, this are 50 depots. They have same unit. Of course, this is 3 seconds, this is x seconds. They have a same unit. So next one, how to solve this one? Of course, we have a few ways. First one, always remember, so start from the proportion. So the product of those 2 inner numbers equals the product of those 2 outer numbers. That give us nothing but 2x equals what? Equals 3 at times 50. That give us 150. From here, it's very clear. We get x is nothing but 75. So that is one way. Of course, another way is what? Always remember, ratio is nothing but fraction. Of course, change this one to 2 over 3 equals 50 over x. At this point, of course, we still have 2 different directions. So first one is always remember, so if you see a fraction equal fraction, that means what? Cross product are equal. That give us nothing but 2x equals, of course, this is 2x, this is 150. Of course, exactly the same equation as above. Solve this one, we figure x equals 75. So how about another way? So basically what? So sometimes you can either figure the answer by equivalent, by equivalent fractions. So think about 2 times 25, that give us 50. That means what? 3 times 25, that should be our x. Of course, x is nothing but 3 multiplied with 25, that give us nothing but 75. That's how you solve this one. So Emily and Katie had 40. So after Emily gave Katie 4, so now Katie has 6 more than Emily. The problem try to figure so how many apples did Emily have before exchange. So I'm going to put down a table and try to list all those important information. So think about we have 2 people. One is Emily and one is Katie. So basically, we have 2 states. One is before the exchange, and one is after exchange. So clearly, so looks like we have 4 missing number there. We need to try to figure everything. So if possible, introduce variable. It's very normal. So of course, try to limit number of variables. So first one, so we do notice before change, the total have 40. So let's call this an x. That means this one must be 40 and minus x put in a parenthesis. So after Emily gave Katie 4, so what that means, Emily gave Katie 4. That means now Emily number must be decreased by 4. Of course, this number increased by 4. So imagine this is nothing but 40 minus x and then plus 4. So simplify, this is nothing but 44 and then minus x inside of parentheses. That gives nothing but 44 and then minus x inside of parentheses. Look at here. So by introduce only one variable, so we figure all those 4 missing numbers. So now all we need is one equation. The problem is what? After exchange, Katie has 6 more. So that means what? We need use this information to build equation. This is nothing but after change, Katie had 6 more. That means what? So Katie number after exchange is nothing but 6 and then plus the number so for the Emily after exchange. Of course, solve this one. So from here, you can either figure answer is x is 21. But never assume x is your final answer. So problem try to figure how many apples Emily has. So Emily has a nothing but our x. That means this is our final answer. So in the original one, so in the original container, it has what? Has a 50 liter. So already have 50 liters. So 50 liters contain 40% alcohol. The problem is see how many. Of course, we need to add a sum. So sum here. So we don't know how many solution. Let's call it x. So x liters of a solution. But the problem is give us this is what? This contain 10% of alcohol. So 10% of alcohol solution. Problem C after add this one, we end up with what? Finally we end up with 30%. We end up with 30%. So alcohol solution. So let's see how to figure this number here. For this kind of problem, definitely is the best way is what? Best way is so you need organize your work. So I'm going to put down the super important information. So try to fully understand how I solve this problem. So first one, you need to put out so the solution specialist. So the solution. Next one, you need try to figure so the alcohol. So of course, so next one, so you try to figure the non-alcohol part. So we already have 50 liters. So in the beginning, let's put a total of 50 here. We know the alcohol is 40%. So 40% times 50, that give us nothing but 20. Of course, that implies this one must be 30. So think about the games. So this is our number of games. This is a number of games. So the win. So of course, this is a number of games lose. It's very clear. So those 2 numbers add together must be called the first number. So probably try to figure this. Let's call this an x. So clear this is 10% of alcohol. That means what? This is nothing but 0.1x. Of course, this is nothing but 0.9x. Again, this number plus this one must be equal to this one. Or of course, you can think about this one, subtract this one must be equals this one. Now we grab all the important information. So we only need one equation. So whenever use this information yet. So 30% of alcohol. So this one. So after you put everything together, so the total number of alcohol over the total number of solution must be equal that number 30%. That's true here, but figure out the equation. Of course, total number of alcohol is nothing but 20 and plus 0.1x over the total number of solution is nothing but 50 and plus x equals 30%. Because we already have decimal here, let's change everything to the decimal. It's nothing but 0.3. But how to solve this one? So still, you need to know how to solve this one. So the best way is use sigma, multiply both sides by this one. This side is give us 20 and plus 0.1x. How about this one? Of course, this one multiply this one, that give us a nasiba, and that give us nasiba 15. And a plus 0.3x. So a return multiplied with 0.3. This one multiplied with 0.3 is this one. This one multiplied with 0.3 is this one. So next one, of course, quickly solve this one. So move number to this side, that give us 5. Of course, a variable to this side, that give us 0.2x. So how to solve this one? I would say the best way to solve this one is multiply both sides by 5. Imagine multiply 5, multiply 5. Of course, this side is nothing but 25. So how about this one? It's nothing but give us 1 times x. Of course, this is x. The problem try to figure the x. That means what? This is our final answer. So final answer is nothing but 25 liters. So we have a sum of 5 consecutive positive integer equal to 2055. Try to figure largest number. So if you see this kind of problem, so always remember, you want to set middle number be the x, so sigma is an x, 5 consecutive so numbers. That means what? Next one must be so plus 1, and of course instead of plus 2. Of course, decrease by 1 and it decrease by 2. So add together, and that's about 5x equals what? Equals 2055. Of course, solve this one, we figure x is nothing but so 411. Problem try to figure larger possible. It's nothing but this one. Final answer is nothing but 413. That is answer for this one. So make sure you fully understand. So 0, 2, 4, and 6. The problem try to figure how many so even number, how many so even number. So we don't know how many so number of digit. We don't know the number of digit. All we know is this is even number. So problem C without a repetition. So this one. So without a repetition. So let's see how to solve this problem. It's very clear. It's nothing but so case word problem. Because what? Because we don't know how many so digit so even number. So we need to do the casework upon the number of digits. So first one is nothing but how about we have only so one digit. If it only one digit even number, so it's very clear. So we can list everything here. And that's about 0, 2, 4, and 6. It's very clear. We have 4 ways. We solve this one by what? By list and count. That give us this is 4 weeks. Let's see. So next one is clear is what? Is a 2-digit even number. So let's see how to solve this one. A 2-digit even number. So basically, all those digits here is even. So let's quickly do the casework. So for this one, of course, could it be what? Could it be something 0? Could it be something 2? Of course, could it be something 4? Could it be something 6? That is very, very clear. So how about this one? So clearly, so first number could it be 2, 4, and 6? That give us what? That give us 3. How about this one? Clearly, we cannot use 0. That give us 4 or 6. So clearly, same thing for here. We have 2 ways. We have 2 ways. This one we have 3 ways. This one had 2, this one 2 as 2. And that's what give us what? Total is 3 and a plus 2, and a plus 2, and a plus 2. Of course, if you solve this one, and that's what give us what? Give us 9 ways. So try to fully understand so why we end up with so 9 ways for this one. So continue. Let's try to figure so 3-digit even number. So the best way is still so break down to the smaller casework. So how about something 0? So something 2, something 4, something 6. For this one, it's very clear. So first one, we have 3 ways. First one, 2, 4, 6, 3 ways. Of course, next time, one number is gone. That's why we end up with only 2 ways. That give us nothing but 3 times 2. How about this one? Of course, first step cannot be so 0. We have only 2 ways, but next step, so one number is gone, one digit is gone. Of course, we can use a 0. That means what? It's still 2 ways. That give us 2 times 2. Of course, same thing here. There's a 2 times 2. Of course, this is 2 times 2. Quickly, so add together. Of course, this is 6, and this is 4, 4, 4. It's very clear. That give us nothing but 14 ways in this case work. So continue. So we need a figure out how about so 4-digit even number. So still, I like to break down to the so smaller so case work here. So how about something adds with 0, something adds with 2, something adds with 4, something adds with 6. Let's try to figure this one. And very clear. There's nothing but 3 times 2 times 1. That give us 3 times 2 and times 1. That give us 6 ways. How about this one? Very clear. First step cannot be 0. That means we have 2 ways. ways. Next step, still 2 ways. Of course, last step is nothing but 1 ways. That give us 2 times 2 times 1. Of course, this is 4. Of course, same thing here. This is nothing but 2 times 2 times 1. That give us 4. Of course, this is nothing but still 2 times 2 times 1. That give us 4. Of course, add together is nothing but so of course here is 18. So of course, end up with nothing but 18 ways. So finally, we need to add everything up because what? We break down this problem into the 4 casework here. So casework and nothing but follow the principle of addition. Final answer is nothing but 4 and plus 9 and plus 18 and plus 18. Of course, so this gives us final answer should be final answer is nothing but 49. So try to fully understand so this one. So basically, the problem try to figure so how many different 3-letter words we need only 3 letters. So coming from by rearranging letters in the words. So A, B, C, D. So basically, we pick 3 letters from A, B, C, D and try to generate 3-letter words. So how many ways are possible? It's very clear. This is nothing but a standard permutation problem. So think about we have 4 different objects. So 4 mutually different. Of course, we select 3. Of course, any letter could be possible. That means without a restriction. Of course, we cannot use A again. So A at the same time. So twice. That means what? Without repetition. It's very clear. So order matters. So imagine we have A, B, C could be totally different from what? From C, B, A. That means what? Order matters. Clearly, now you figure out this is nothing but a standard permutation problem. That gives us nothing but 4 and P 3. We select 3 from 4. Of course, quickly evaluate this one. Of course, we have 2 ways. So best way is I like to use is so starting from this number, decrease by 1. We need 3 numbers. That gives us nothing but 4 times 3 at a time 2. So start with 4. Of course, decrease by 1, decrease by 1. We need 3 numbers multiply together and nothing but 24. That is answer for this one. So make sure you understand. So this time we need a 5-letter. So 5-letter words. So coming from A, B, B, C. So basically what? By rearranging those 5 letters. So try to figure 5-letter different words. So how many ways are possible? It's very clear. This is a standard generalized permutation and a combination problem. It's a very, very standard problem. So of course, we know answer is nothing but, of course, total object is what? Is 5. They give us 5 factorial. We have 2 identical A. We need to divide by 2 factorial. We have 2 identical B. We need to divide by 2 factorial. Of course, quickly solve this one. Top is nothing but 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 and times 1. So bottom one for 2 factorial, nothing but 2 times 1. Of course, 2 factorial, nothing but 2 times 1. Of course, this gives us reduce 4 by this one. That gives us final answer nothing but 30. So we have a group of 4 men and 5 women. So 4 men and 5 women. Let's see. The first problem is try to select 5 people. So select 5. So select 5, including 3 men and 2 women. Let's see. So how many ways are possible? It's very clear. This is a multi-step process. First step is select 3 men from 4 men. This is nothing but our standard combination problem. Of course, next one is select 2 from 5. This is another standard combination problem. That's why final answer is nothing but 4C3 multiple with 5C2. So of course, evaluate that give you as answer. So next one, the problem C, so select 5. As problem C, including at least 3 women. Let's see how to solve this one. So at least 3. So we don't know exactly. So that means what? Definitely we need to do the casework. How about first one is we have 3 women, then apply we need 2 men. So next one, of course, could be 4 women, then apply we need 1 man. So of course, another casework here is what? We need 5 women, then apply this as 0 man. For each casework, and nothing but our so standard problem 1. So definitely is, so you need know how to figure this one. This is nothing but, of course, 4C2 multiple with 5C3. Of course, this is nothing but 4C1 multiple with 5C4. This is nothing but 4C0 multiple with 5C5. So finally, you need to add everything up because what? Because this is nothing but so casework problem. You need to add everything up. That give us answer. So select 5. The problem see how many ways are possible. So all we need is 5 people. We don't know so how many so men or how many women. So that means what? We can combine everything together. Now is nothing but select 5 from all together is 9. That give us a final answer nothing but so 9C5. So next one, I will quickly show you so how to evaluate. If you try to figure, so NCR, it's nothing but N factorial, and then divided by difference factorial, difference of factorial, and then divided by this number factorial. Of course, you can think about this, calculate P first, and then divided by this number factorial. So in order to figure out P, of course, still we have two formulas. One is also N factorial, and then divided by the difference factorial. So another way is study for this number, and then decrease by 1 every time. We need R, second number of numbers. So always remember, so if you see NCM, basically equals what? NC, so N minus M. If you see this number plus this one equal this one, that means they have same C. Always remember, so any number C0 equals 1. Any number, so P0 equals 1. 0 factorial equals 1. So any number C1 equals that number. So any number, so P1 equals that number. So any number C, so that number equals 1. So any number P, that number equals that number factorial. So remember all those formulas could be so very useful. I'm going to quickly show you so how to figure out so those answers here. So I do notice 4C3 and nothing but 4C1 because 1 plus 3 equals 4. 4C1 is nothing but 4. So how about 5C2? 5C2 nothing but 5P2 and then divided by 2 factorial. 5P2 is nothing but 5 times 4, two numbers. Of course, and then divided by 2, that gives nothing but 10. So that means our first number is nothing but 40. That is answer for this one. So next one, let's see, to quickly figure out so each one. So this is 4C2. 4C2 is nothing but 4P2 and then divided by 2 factorial. 4P2 is 4 times 3, that gives us 12. And then divided by 2 factorial is nothing but 2. Of course, we figure this is nothing but 6. Of course, 5C3 is nothing but 5C2. That is 10. That means our first one is nothing but 60. 6 times 10, that's 60. This is the 4. Of course, 5C4 is nothing but 5C1. 5C1 is 5. That means what? This is 4 times 5. That gives us 20. How about this one? Of course, any number C0 is 1. Of course, any number C, that number is equal to 1. That means what? This part is nothing but 1. Of course, add everything up. That gives us 81. So that is answer for this one. This is nothing but 9P5 and then divided by 5 factorial. So 9P5 nothing but 9 multiplied with 8, multiplied with 7, multiplied with 6, and multiplied with 5. Of course, we need 5 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, and then divided by 5 factorial is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Look at here, 5 reduced. Of course, 2, 3 reduced by 6. 4, this one reduced. That means what? Nothing but 18 and times 7. 18 times 7 is nothing but 100. So 126. That gives us nothing but 126. So that's how you figure out this problem. So make sure you understand. So first one. So if you flip a coin, so problem 6, flipping coin 6 times. So how many total outcome? And nothing but 2 to the 6th power. Of course, it's nothing but 64. And nothing but a multi-step problem. So each step we have 2 ways. We have 6 steps, of course. That give us 64. So how about problem 7? So problem 7, flip 7 times. 7 times. Try to figure how many ways to get exactly. So exactly 2 heads. That imply we get 5 tails. Let's see how to solve this one. Always remember, so this is a very standard problem. The answer is nothing but this number, C this one. That's all. Or you can choose this number, C this one. The answer is exactly the same. Of course, final answer is nothing but 7 and C2. To do multiple ways any COs. If you multiple ways any COs, you are totally wrong. This is a very, very standard problem. Of course, 7C2 is nothing but, of course, 7P2 and divided by 2 factorial. 7P2 is nothing but 7 times 6, of course, and divided by 2 times 1. Final answer here is nothing but 21. A flip coin 6 times, 6 times. So how many ways we get more heads than tail? Space 1. So more heads. So we don't know how many heads, tails exactly. So that's why we have to do the case work. First one. So how about 4 heads? Exactly. That means well, of course, definitely we have 2 tails. So next case work is 5 heads. That means 1 tail. Of course, next one is 6 heads. That means 0 tail. For each one, nothing but our standard problem as this one. So give a total number of flipping, give the number of heads. Exactly, you want nothing but so total number of flipping, C number of heads. all C number of tail. So they give 8 the same answer. So for this one, of course, they give us this is nothing but 6 C4, all 6 C2. They are 8 the same because 2 plus 4 equals 6. I'm going to choose this one. They give us 6 C2. Of course, here is I'm going to choose this number. Of course, you can choose this one or this one. The answer is 8 the same, but you can only choose one. Don't use multiplication. Of course, this is nothing but so I'm going to choose this number. This is nothing but 6 C0. Of course, this is nothing but of course give us 6 P2 and divided by 2 factorial. 6 times 5 and divided by 2 factorial. Of course, that give us nothing but 15. Of course, any number C1 is nothing but that number. Any number C0 is nothing but 1. Of course, add together. Final answer here is nothing but 22. Circular permutation problem. So definitely you need to understand. So difference between circular permutation and a standard permutation. So problem C, we have 4 people so sit around a table. So let's call this A, B, C, and D. A, B, and C, and D. So we have 4 chairs. The problem trying to figure so how many way so those 4 people so can be seated so at around a table. So first answer is for the standard permutation problem. Remember, if I treat this one as a standard permutation problem, it's very clear. We have 4 people, we have 4 chairs. That gives us nothing but 4P4. Of course, this is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Of course, we end up with 24. But definitely, this is not right answer for this problem because this problem tries to figure circular permutation. For any circular permutation problem, so basically, so sigma you figure one answer, and if anybody make a rotation, so we will not count a new answer. Always remember this one. So what that means if we have one answer, so A, B, C, D, and anybody make a rotation, of course, we will end up with, so this is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. So we treat those answers A that is same. If we treat A that is same, this is a circular permutation problem. If we treat it differently, so that means what? This is a permutation problem. So make sure you understand the difference. For the circular permutation, ain't nothing but talk about this situation. The best way for this one is you fix one person there. That means what? A cannot change anymore. Of course, you can fix anyone. I'm going to fix A here. A cannot move. Of course, now we have B, C, D, so 3 people, so they can do any permutation that give us nothing but so 3 and P is 3, that give us final answer a nothing but 3 factorial. So in general, if you have an object do the standard permutation, we end up with answer is n factorial. If we do the circular permutation, is n minus 1 factorial. So make sure you understand the difference. That is how to understand. So this one. So basically here is the A, this is the B, so here A, the C, this is C. First problem, let's try to figure so how many shortest paths from A to B. So this is a super so standard problem. So if you figure the shortest path from A to B, so if you try actually what? As for any shortest path must contain 4 east and 4 north. Of course, could be in a totally different order. So definitely is you indicate here. And nothing but so contain 4 east and 4 north to get from A to B. Of course, different order give you the different answer. For example, so E, N, and nothing but so nothing but this route. Of course, another one, for example, N, E, and nothing but so this route. Of course, any different order that give you a different shortest path. So after you get here, now it's very clear. This is nothing but our generalized permutation and a combination problem. So final answer here is very clear. It's A factorial. We have 4 identical E. That's why it's 4 factorial. We have 4 identical N. That's why we divide by 4 factorial. Because 4 plus 4 equals 8. That's why we can rewrite this one as 8C4. Quickly evaluate this one. This is nothing but AP4 and then divided by 4 factorial. AP4 is nothing but started from 8 decreased by 1. We need 4 numbers. And that's about 8 times 7 at times 6 at times 5. Of course, 4 factorial. That's about 4 times 3 at times 2 at times 1. Of course, evaluate this one as simplify. That give us answer a nothing but so 70. So next one, problem B. So try to figure so how many shortest paths through C. So imagine if you get from A to B, so you are following the shortest path that passes through C. That means what? Must be a two-step problem. So first one is a shortest path from A to C, and then from C to B. So basically, we have two shortest path problem. So sigma, this is so smaller scaled diagram. Of course, clearly we need 3 east and 3 north. That clearly give us what 6 factorial divided by 3 factorial and then divided by 3 factorial. That give us this here is nothing but 6 and 3. From C to B, it's very clear. 1 east and 1 north. It's very clear. 2 factorial divided by 1 factorial divided by 1 factorial. Nothing but 2 C1. Of course, solve this one. A nothing but give us is a nothing but give us a 40. So next problem, try to figure from A to B. So shortest path. Do not passing through C. It's very clear. This is the total. This is a raw answer. Of course, do the subtraction. That give us right answer. Of course, 70 and then minus 40. That give us final answer is nothing but 30. So that's how you solve this one. So we have 3 girls and 2 boys. So basically, those 2 boys must be so on the at. So this is 1 boy. This is another boy. 3 girls must be so inside. The problem trying to figure how many ways are possible. So clearly you can see, but this is a multi-step. So let's try to figure. So first step we have how many ways? So clearly it could be 2 ways because we have 2 boys. So either boy is okay. That means what? We have 2 ways. So of course now we figure this one must be has only 1 way. Next one, let's try to see so this girl. It's very clear. So we have 3 girls. So any girl could be here. That means what? Here we have nothing but 3 ways. Now of course we have only 2 girls left. That means 2 ways. Now I have only 1 girl left. Of course that is 1 way. Multiply everything together. That is our final answer. And very clear. 2 times 3 times 2 times 1 and times 1. Final answer is nothing but 12. That is answer for this one.